Damian Lillard is a 5-time All-Star, a 5-time All-NBA performer, a former Rookie of the Year winner, and is widely considered a top 5 point guard and top 10 player in the NBA. But despite his many accolades, Damian Lillard does not have an NBA championship, and considering the fact that he plays for the Portland Trailblazers, not saying they're a bad team, but due to them being a small market, it doesn't look like a championship is coming anytime soon. So if a championship is not the next step, what is? Well, as you can tell from the title of the video, I believe an NBA MVP award in 2021 is definitely the next step as far as Damian Lillard further cementing his legacy among the all-time greats in NBA history. But before we go any further with this video, make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. Also, don't forget to check out the Overtime podcast and follow our Twitter page. The links for all of the things I just mentioned are in the description box down below. But without further ado, let's get back to the topic at hand, and that is if Damian Lillard can win the 2021 NBA MVP award. When you look at this Portland Trailblazers roster this past season, I don't think they get enough credit for how well they were able to man the ship despite the many injuries and obstacles that they had to overcome. Rodney Hood and Zach Collins were major pieces of their playoff run the previous year, and they went down due to injuries. And in the case of Rodney Hood, it was a very fatal injury as it was an Achilles tear. Zach Collins only played 11 games due to his injury as well, and I have to admit, even in those 11 games, he showed a lot of progress and progression as far as his three-point shooting went. And mind you, even though Hassan Whiteside was their replacement for Nurkic going out, he's actually a pretty good replacement, he's still not as good as Jusuf Nurkic is, and we all just saw that in the bubble as Nurkic was sensational. I mean, think about it, this roster was so depleted to the point that they had to go out there and sign Carmelo Anthony. And don't get me wrong, Melo definitely did supersede many people's expectations, but Carmelo Anthony is not a good defender, and to pair him with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and Hassan Whiteside, who's very sus in pick and rolls, yeah, it is just not a great defensive pairing. But offensively, he definitely did step up, so I have to give him credit where it's due. And even when you look at another role player such as Gary Trent Jr., he came along very strong in the bubble as far as the play-in games went. In the playoffs against the Lakers, he kind of struggled, but regardless, he brought some defensive presence that team desperately needed on the perimeter. And staying on the topic of defense, that leads into their biggest move of the offseason, acquiring Robert Covington. Covington is an amazing perimeter defender, can space the floor, and though he can be streaky, he's still somebody that the defense has to pay attention to. And for guys like Damian Lillard who get doubled and tripled on every single play due to his gravity, he could definitely use that in his starting lineup. And now that they do have Covington and Melo is returning next season, I expect Melo to come off of the bench full time, and he can even be more effective there as his defensive lapses won't be as exploitable. But despite all of the things that I just said and the roster upgrades, them getting Nurkic back and also getting Robert Covington this offseason, I still believe that a majority of this team's success is going to be very dependent on the guard play of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. And for those who do not follow me on Twitter, I have been very avid about the Portland Trailblazers moving on from CJ McCollum and getting a shot creator or at least a defender at the guard position, or maybe even just starting Gary Trent and looking for other packages to fill out the rest of the roster needs, because at this point there really is just no reason to keep this duo together, especially considering how bad they are on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm not going to get into too much of an explanation because I do have an article that dropped today about that situation, so make sure you go and check that out. A link should be in the description box down below. But getting back to why y'all clicked on this video, it is if Damian Lillard could win the 2021 MVP. And to that, I definitely believe he can. For starters, there should be no doubt that he can put up the MVP caliber numbers, as over the last 5 seasons in a row, he's been a 25+ point per game scorer on rather good efficiency, and just this past season he achieved a career high, averaging 30 points per game, 8 assists and 4 rebounds, shooting 46% from the field, 40% from 3, which was also a career high on 10 attempts a game, mind you, and also shot 88 to 89% from the free throw line. So as far as the numbers go, sure, he may not average 30 next year, but I definitely think 25 to 28 points per game and the same assists and rebounds are definitely doable because he's been doing it over the last couple of seasons in his career, so I don't see anything stopping him from doing it again next season. Now to me, I can understand the other aspect of it, which is the winning. Because when you look at the fact that Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers have not been the most successful team, at least over the last season, I can definitely understand people saying that he won't have enough wins under his belt to be taken as a serious candidate. And to that, I can agree somewhat, but I think that next year will be a little bit of a different scenario. Because let's not forget that in 2019, they were the 3rd seed in the Western Conference, and in 2018, they were also the 3rd seed. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to at least be a top 3 to 4 seed in that conference, and I expect their defense to be far better with the addition of Robert Covington, which has been a huge Achilles heel for this roster, perimeter defense. They addressed that, and Rodney Hood will be back, Zach Collins will be back. I forgot to mention that they even brought back Enes Kanter in the offseason, and those were 3 guys that were extremely vital towards their success in the 2019 playoffs. So considering the offseason moves that they made, and the additions that they're going to get with the players coming back from injury last year, I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that they could be at least a top 4 seed or maybe even the 3 seed in the Western Conference. Because Damian Lillard, similar to guys like James Harden or even LeBron James, if you want to throw him in there as well, because LeBron can carry unlike anybody, Dame can carry a roster way further than it should be. He's just that type of player. Now, as far as his playoff resume goes, that is an entirely different discussion. But let's not forget the MVP award is a regular season award. And not many players in NBA history, much less in the NBA today, can do what Damian Lillard does on a night-to-night basis throughout the regular season. Which leads into the final aspect and my conclusion of this video, the narrative. The narrative matters a lot in the NBA season, and I've been seeing a lot of people drop their predictions for the MVP award and people saying Damian Lillard simply due to the fact that they don't want him to just go throughout his entire career not getting an MVP award because they know he's not going to get a championship in Portland. And that could be the narrative for Damian Lillard, as sad as it sounds, next year for his MVP case. He's one of the most beloved players in the league. The media does snub him at times, which gives him a lot of fan support, and due to his loyalty that many people admire, Damian Lillard has had to carry an organization without no All-Stars, no All-NBA caliber players, no Defensive Player of the Year winners for a long time. The last All-Star that he's had to play with was LaMarcus Aldridge, and he, just like Wesley Matthews and Nicholas Batum, their entire squad was broken away from Damian Lillard to the point that he had to be solely responsible for getting his team to the postseason since then. And he's done that every single year. And just like that, I've created a narrative for Damian Lillard next year. And when you factor in that the Clippers are cursed and nobody cares about them, Giannis will probably have voters fatigue, and LeBron is playing with Anthony Davis, the window is wide open for anybody to be an MVP candidate. And I think that if Dame can lead his team to at least a top 4, potentially top 3 seed in the ever-growing difficult Western Conference, I think that would be more than a justification for Damian Lillard being declared the 2021 NBA MVP. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. Also hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this channel and push the bell for post notifications. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and check out my articles. The links are in the description box down below. Y'all stay safe and have a great day. I'm out. Peace.